Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, or good night, wherever you're at in the world. Just gonna be recapping today's action, and I'm gonna be going over what we kind of expected to happen into the open, what happened, and the ideas that I had throughout the day, given in the chat or in the voice call, and how you should play a day like today, just for future reference as well. So first things first. We have the pre-market prep. So the three ideas given for NASDAQ were we push up somewhere from here to 950 and then come down, which didn't happen. Scenario two, which did happen, was to go somewhere around literally just flush off the open and go to 840, which is exactly what happened. Like word for word, I said flush down off the open for a downside target of 840, which was literally the bottom. And then a third scenario I gave was a quick dip at the open. So it would key here and then go back up, but that didn't happen. So scenario two happened. You always gotta have a couple different playbooks in mind. So 840 happened, and this is when I was leaning kind of bullish in chat. So if you go scroll back through mentorship chat and go to pretty early on, I was basically saying this could easily reverse. Indices are still around Friday's range. And the reason why I say that is if we go to QQQ, it's the same thing on NASDAQ. I just don't want to change the hours. This is today. So right as we go today, it may seem like we're dumping, but we're really not. This is the Friday close. This is the Friday close. So we're really at the range. So I didn't really see a reason why to be extremely bearish for it to go all the way down. Like we already gapped up at the resistance area, right? We gapped up here. Then we come back down to the support area, so it was plausible for a bounce, and then that happened to be the exact same area where I had the 840 level. And if we zoom out to the 1 minute, this is what I always talk about, right? I don't want to buy a knife like this. I don't want to buy a knife like this. I want to buy it when it's slowing down. So I have a level, I have a set. I'm watching the action at the level first to assess, and then we break it down. We see we see slowing down, and then we see some bouncing in the area happening. So you could take along pretty much anywhere here with a stop somewhere around 838 or 830. And the reason why, if you zoom out, okay. And the reason why is if you zoom out a little bit, so we have the 840 long here. Let's say you bought 845 or 844, right? You could place your stop somewhere under here, right? Like somewhere under like 830, right? So where it would come back up, and this is basically where your stop would be. Let me zoom back in real quick. And the reason why I was saying Monday session high 850, I'm sorry, it was because it was the Monday session high. So Monday, it was a short day, but the high of that day was 955. So that's why I had the 950 level in mind the whole day, not just the 930. And then when that time came around 8 my time, I started to notice some resistance on the NQ forming. So I wanted a curl down to happen, which also exactly happened. So as you see, I don't like to buy or sell or short candles that look like this, right? That just look like this, because you can get screwed on those, because that indicates that there's one side really has an advantage over you, and there's no reason to short something like that. So you want to short in an area where this is happening, right? This always indicates that there's some slowing down. It doesn't mean that the one side is initially gone. It doesn't mean that the buyers or the sellers are gone, but in that case, it's telling you that, hey, one side may be getting exhausted. We should look for possibly either for a counter trade or to buy this to go higher. Buyers will gain momentum back. Same thing that happened here. Like you see it slowing down. You didn't see me buying this, buying that. We bought after it slowed down a lot. So same thing, same idea here. All right, we bounce all the way near the opening range. It's consolidating. It pops right near the 930 level. You take a small short, we write it down, it's 30 points, not bad. It just consolidates. We don't do anything for like the next 30, 40, 50 minutes. And then we notice this area right here. And I'm like, hey, watch this 9-10 area for a bounce. The reason being, it's the exact same logic, right? So you see, you kind of get my trading style now. I'm not buying this. I'm not shorting this. I'm not buying that. After it slows down a lot, and I see all those wicks, this is when I join the party, because I know one side is becoming weaker. I don't care if it's the buyers or the sellers. I just care that, hey, we might be getting like a more equal fight here, and based on the structure, I'll pick the side the side I want to choose. Right. So right here, you can clearly tell that sellers have the upper hand. Right here, you can clearly tell the buyers have the upper hand. But in here, you can't really tell. It's more 50-50. So these are the areas I like for consolidation, basically. And then I pick the side I want to go on. So coming off this 915 area, right here, and then also right here, and then very close right here. So we know this area right here. There's been some buying in the area, and we're coming up from an uptrend. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, I think if I buy this, I think I'll make some money. So you just buy this with a stop somewhere under 902. So there's no need to micromanage every trade. You just buy it, put stop, and let it work. There's no need to buy here, then sell it here, right? Just let the trade do its thing. So pause somewhere here, and then you could sell 930 back at the previous resistance. Comes back down. This is when I didn't really like it as much. The area is still valid. Because we still have this area here. So like I said, the trade was still valid here, and we still see the slowing down. So right here, all those wicks right here, but that candle is really what scared me. Because I wasn't 100% sure how aggressive they could take it under 18,900. So I didn't take this one. But I kind of briefly mentioned that it could work. I just wasn't as confident in it, and it did work. And then we get this 930 area. So here's what I initially I guess talked about. I wanted it to go from 930 to 950. So something like this. Come back down to 930, because it hasn't been able to hold 930 for long. Every time it goes over 930, it drops. And we've been seeing aggressive action come from it. So if you look here, that was a sell on volume, sell, sharp sell, and then you could see the seller step in here and here and here as well. So anything over 930 has been getting sold off pretty aggressively. So to go long, to go for like 990 or 980, whatever the case may be, I wanted it to go over 950, just so I know that there's actual buying strength, that it's not just a pop that will die. And that ended up dissaving us. The short ended up working extremely well, and I understood the short. I just didn't want to take a longer short. So you can kind of see how it's curling down. I always talk about the curling. You can see how it goes up, struggles, starts to make lower highs. So lower highs right here, and then it flushes. Right on the curl, it always accelerates. Right, it goes up, slows down, and then it accelerates down. Right? So this dumps all the way back to low a day, and this is where it gets very interesting. I was gone after like here, but we could still recap this. It goes back to low a day, the 840 level we had. It goes back to basically like here and consolidates. It does the same thing it did here. Notice how every single thing at a top and a bottom is the exact same setup. It's slowing down. The momentum slowed down where one side becomes a lot weaker than the other. It does the same thing here, and then it goes back up. So you could have taken long somewhere over the 840 as if you're buying here, right? With a stop at the low. So 20-point stop, and you're aiming for somewhere at least like 870, just because this is where it was here. And it goes back up. It consolidates again. You can see slowing down. And I don't know what the hell happened into the close, but something happened. I'll have to look into it later. I didn't finish this. This is what I wanted to happen. But that didn't happen, obviously. And yeah. We can go to ES real quick, but I hope does it fully make sense why we took the trades here, the long here, the short here, and the long here? There's no need to be like micro trading, micro scalping, buying here, selling here, buying here, selling here. Just wait for the A plus setups. You only need 2, 3, 4 trades a day. I promise you they'll make your day. You'll probably end up making more than if you're micro scalping. For ES, we can go back to the 5-minute. And how I said we have a level at 13. So unfortunately, it didn't hit the 13 level, but it did hit. It was at 18. And I did adjust my level intraday to 18 because NQ was at the 40. NQ was at 940 or 840. So I had to adjust because not every level is gonna work to the exact. It's usually like a zone, but this is why I had the 13 level, right? And I forgot to mention why I had the NQ 840 level. This is why I had the 840 level. So you see, Sunday and the Friday session, it held pretty well. So I marked them down as an important pivot. We go back to ES. So I mentioned as long as ES is under 30, I'm not really too bullish. I'm not really wanting it to go up, just because it's getting weaker under 30, and 30 is a big level, especially from pre-market, right? So very recent activity has been weak under. So you see here how it holds 18, and then it goes back up, and then at that point right here somewhere at 26, 27, I mentioned, hey, ES has the curling look, just because it goes up, and it's just you could kind of visualize like a circle, right? Especially if you look right here in this area right here, you could kind of visualize how it's kind of curling down. That's exactly what happens, right? It curls lower highs here. This is when I really knew it would break down, because lower highs, if it wanted to go higher, it would have went up to somewhere around 31, come back, retest 26, and go back to 40, right? But it didn't do that, and we'll see the action in a couple of days, and I'll compare the session for you guys. But you can see how the action was really weak today, and then under 18 it just flushes down to a random level I didn't have at all. Yeah, like I wouldn't have this level on my chart. And then but we did have NQ 820 and 840. So you see the slowing down on the 5-minute. So you see how we're not buying this candle. We're starting to buy when a small consolidation happens at the lows at a level we like, and then you buy it with a defined risk at the bottom. This is just to prevent a big loss from happening, because if you buy this, where's your stop? But buying here, your stop could be somewhere here, right? Because you know where you're gonna be wrong, and bounces somewhere here, and then the random end of day pump, and it still manages to stay under the 30. So I guess we'll see how it opens tomorrow. And yeah, I hope like the example, I hope why you understand like why we took these basically 3 trades here. And it all starts with really having good levels. Good levels give you like the idea of where the market wants to go. And the reason why I had 830 was, if you look at 930, so look at the pre-market somewhere right here, and that was basically it, right? Yeah. So 930 here, 930 pre-market, 930. So we know it's an area of interest. 840. So we have 840 here. We have 840 somewhere here, and then we have 840 also here, right? So I only plot the very big levels, and it's literally magic. You just gotta trust them sometimes, and we're kind of in a balance right now, but I do expect to go higher. Sometime tomorrow, I do expect to go higher, with 840 being like the pivot lows. But yeah, that should be it for today's recap, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good afternoon. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.